Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Noreen Snyder, your host for Have a Chat with Poet Noreen. Tonight's guest was going to be Michael Rothenberg, but he couldn't make it tonight because he is recovering from a very bad fall downstairs. He spent a week in the hospital and now he's recovering at home. He had a concussion and can't communicate with us. It will be a difficult recovery for him. Keep him in your thoughts and prayers. And my guest tonight is Maxwanette A Poetess. She is right here in sunny Florida. Okay. And I will read her note to you all. Okay. Okay. Maxine A Moncrieffe, aka Maxwanette A Poetess, was born in Brooklyn, New York in the early 1970s to Jamaican immigrant parents. At Cumberland Hospital, Maxwanette's mother, Hyacinth Williams-Moncrieffe, was also an RN, registered nurse, published poet, activist, and Maxwanette's first mentor and introduction to the world of poetry from St. Anne's and Discovery Bay, Old Folly. Her father, born in St. James but grew up in Westmoreland, was a dry cleaner and construction worker. Due to her parents struggling in life from the African Diaspora, culture shocks from Jamaica to America, and their own psychological traumas, Maxwanette came from and lived in a life full of turmoil and dysfunction. Creativity was her light in the dark. Maxwanette was reading at a high school level by the age of 3 and wrote her first haiku by the time she was 5. Thoroughly tickled by them, Maxwanette wrote her mother a new haiku every day for a month. She simply stopped writing poetry. She simply never stopped writing poetry. At the age of 12, she participated in her mother's poetry recital and recited one of her mother's poems called The Propeller in Brooklyn, New York at the New Muse. Maxwanette went on to enter and win poetry, writing, reading, and literature awards and certificates. She has had her poem "The Little Things" published in our Times newspaper in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Alone again, one step over, please, as I rise to face a new day, freedom and cleaning up, and soul vomit domestic violence aftermath in 2014. Where have all the people gone? In the National Library of Poetry in 1987, and in the World of Poetry 1990, and worldwide in the World of Poetry 1987. In 2020, Maxwanette published two books, Poetry Language of the Soul, Volume 1, and The Poetic Storm, Volume 2. Maxwanette is also the business owner of Plots Proofing and Promoting Services LLC, founded in Dallas, Georgia, and now in Kissimmee, Florida. She went further to start a DBA, Cyber Clerical Associates LLC, founded in Kissimmee, Florida. Some of the services provided are notary public, proofreading, editing, typing, creating letters, documents, flyers, general resume, cover letter, job search assistance, logos, video creating, minor, book publishing with Amazon, KDP, and more. Maxwanette feels that there's no greater thing than loving and assisting others. She enjoys being able to help poets, writers, and authors become published as a self-publisher with Amazon KDP. She's been in the social services arena for most of her life and career and is always helping out others in her communities. When asked why she is so dedicated, she responded, I had a rough upbringing and life. I made many mistakes along the way and learned the hard way with much pains, losses, and sacrifices. But I learned to never give up. I give back by trying to be the change I want to see in the world, by loving self and helping and encouraging others. Positivity and joy are key. And poetry is my best friend. I know creativity can unite and heal the world. Okay, I think that okay, that'll be enough because you can tell you all. Okay, okay. And I want to say, hello, Robbie. Um, hello, hello, Facebook user. Said hello there. And somebody else said, hope Michael will be okay. And Elizabeth Esquerra Castillo said, good eve, good day, Sister Max and Noreen.
Hi.
Okay, okay. And welcome, Max. Let's give a warm welcome to Maxwanette A Poetess. Welcome.
You, Noreen. Thank you so much. Can you
You're
hear
very
me okay?
welcome.
Am I
Yes.
coming? Okay, great.
Okay.
Hello to everyone. Hi, Elizabeth, my dear sister. Nice to see you. I mean, you kind of introduced me already, Noreen. I'm not
Okay.
sure
Oh,
what else.
maybe I shouldn't done that. Maybe I shouldn't done that. But you maybe I should.
You're fine. You're doing
Okay.
just fine. Where should I start? You have questions for me? Where should I start, Noreen?
Okay. Okay. Let me see.
First, I want to say thank you for having me, and also I'm wishing Michael. I wasn't prepared, but I'm here, and I'm wishing
Okay.
Michael a speedy recovery.
Yes. Yes. Hmm. Yes. Okay.
So,
And
what questions? What do you need to know? Just ask Noreen, and I'll answer.
okay. And then if anybody in the audience have any questions, they can put it in the comment and ask you too. They
Of
can do
course,
that anytime. Okay. Okay.
definitely.
And 'kay, the first one I want to ask you. You said you wrote your first haiku by the time you were 5. Do you remember your haiku? If
Oh, I
so, would you like to recite it to us?
oh, I wish I could remember that haiku. That was 45 years
Wow.
ago.
Okay. Okay.
That's not gonna happen. But and
Okay.
all those documents. We were in a fire when I was at that age, so we
Wow.
lost so much stuff. I only thing I was able to save was my birth certificate and my baptism papers. So everything else was gone. But unfortunately not. I wish.
Okay. But that is awesome. You are you. To me, you're the What's the word for it? You are oh more than smart. What was that word?
Don't you dare say genius, Noreen. I'm
No,
not.
more than no,
You're not
it's more than a
anything like
genius.
that.
It's not genius, but there's another word instead of genius. Word your haiku way up there, and what they call starts with M. Oh, it's coming. It's right there. Tip my tongue. It starts with M.
Well, I have to say, I have to give credit to my mom. My mother had me reading. I think she was reading to me from in the womb. So
Wow.
she when I was born, it was we were always consistent with music, creativity, reading, writing. These were things that my mother instituted with everyone. You had to do something creative, whether you wanted to or not. You didn't have a choice.
Yes.
So, my siblings and I, we all had something creative to do. My sister took up guitar, Denise.
Yes.
Um, my
Yes.
brother, he took up karate, and I took up the drums, and which did not
Wow.
last long because my mother couldn't stand the noise. So,
Wow.
so I had to find something else. And being able to read at such a young age, um, I was just a reading dynamo. I mean, I read everything. I just love to read. So, I would read my mother's nursing books. I would read anything. I read the Bible, even though I wasn't religious. It was a book. It was there. I read it.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I found poetry. I believe one day my mother was reciting a piece from Louise Bennett Coverley, which is a popular, famous, well-known Jamaican poet, and Claude McKay. And I was stuck. I said, "What is this?" She's like, "It's poetry." So that really started me on my journey of poetry. And I went from that to Maya Angelou, of course, James Baldwin, Langston Hughes. I just kept going. And believe it or not, one of my best favorite poets was actually Edgar Allan Poe,
Mhm.
because he was so dark and demented, and that was kind of the life I was in, so I could connect with what he was saying. I was a very sad child, So
Yeah. Wow.
I can laugh about it now, but he just, and Shakespeare, of course, but Edgar Allan Poe was really what broke it for me, because he showed me that there really wasn't a limit on poetry.
Right.
You know, yeah, he was out there back
Yeah.
then. He was just like, wow. When I read The Raven, I was like, you can do that, and it took on from there. But again, I won a lot of writing awards, certifications in school, the spelling bee, because my mom, we had homework. I was okay, well, I went to public school in Brooklyn, New York. It's Elijah J. Stroud, G. Stroud, public school 316 on Classen Avenue, actually. And the principal then was Mr. Jenkins. And I was in every reading festival, contest, you name it, I was in it. And I was in the special elite classes. Those are for the students who were Excelsior students.
Yes.
So you started from 1E to 6E. So those were the classes for the children that were the smartest in the school. So this is where I shined, was always reading and writing and anything to do with English, math, but reading, that was my thing, it still is. So
Yep.
I went from there, just writing. I remember when I was 3, I came across a haiku in a book my mother had.
Yes.
I just don't remember what it was about, but I do remember she had a book. It had a haiku in it, and I was fascinated by it. And I started writing haikus every day. My mother got tired of me.
Well, that is awesome.
She told me don't write anymore.
Wow.
But they weren't sophisticated. You got to remember, I was 3 years old, so they had
Right.
to be stuff like "I love apples" and "I love pie" or "I love," stuff like
Yes.
that. You know,
Yes.
yeah. But that was fun. That was
And I'm
fun.
and I'm so glad you kept it up and you kept it up after all these years. You, you're
Yeah.
so inspiration to all of us.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I just
And
love reading.
yes, it's yep. I love to read too. Ever since I could remember.
I know.
Oh, and
Poets usually have that in common, actually, where we love
yes,
to read. I mean, and I'm gonna, people may say I'm being judgmental, but
mhm,
I feel that a good, decent, solid poet
yes,
has to be a reader.
yes,
You have to be one that is willing to expand your mind, your horizons, seeker of knowledge. Oh
yes,
yes, yes. I'm seeing Elizabeth said Anna Blee. I love Anna Blee. That I
yes,
used to know that when my memory was sharp, man. I used to be able to recite that just off the cuff.
yes,
Yeah, I was in plays. We used to put on shows at home. I would sing and dance and recite, and these are things that my sister, she used to direct, because she's not as poetry inclined as I am, even though she writes from time to time. But she's more of an artist. So Denise would
yes.
draw. She can draw.
Wow.
But yeah, my mother used to give us homework along with what we had at school. We had to do at least 30 something vocabulary words a week. We had to write them in sentences, pronunciate. We had to stand up and speak the sentences to her. We had to spell out the words, and we had to use them in a sentence. And this was something we had to do on top. And so I did the whole dictionary. I was thrilled. Even my mother said she didn't have time. I kept going. I think that's why I talk so much.
I don't think you talk too much. Oh, I thought of the word too. Mensa society.
The Mensa. Oh, that's what you. Yes, yes, yes. Back then, what they called it something else. I just can't remember right now. But yeah, you know what? I was told I had a high IQ. Don't ask me what it is, because I don't know. Because you know why? I never wanted to know. I don't like labels. I don't
Right.
like being boxed in, saying I'm this and saying I'm that. I never liked it, because I always thought that once you see me as such, you see me as such. And I just like to just be who I am,
Yes.
whatever and whomever that is. So I really don't.
Yeah.
I haven't gone to college. I have no college degrees to speak of,
Wow.
and people are amazed by that. But my
Me
vocabulary
too.
is high. You know, I'm gonna tap on this real quickly off the subject, probably a little bit. I don't
Okay.
want people to feel you don't have to have a college degree to be a poet. You don't have to have a college degree to do anything per se, depending on what it is. Now, if you're going to be a surgeon, you need a college degree.
Right.
Okay,
I agree.
understand me.
Yes.
But when it comes to knowledge and education, all you need is this and this.
Yes.
The reason why I never went for a college degree, because personally I just didn't like college. I didn't like the way they taught. I didn't like the fact that they left out so many things that I felt was important.
Yes.
Um, and
Mhm.
I just felt that it was basically pigeonholing. And that's how I felt. Now, don't misunderstand me. If I need something in particular, yeah, I'll go get a degree. That's not really an issue. But just because you don't have a degree does not mean you don't have a brain. You don't have a mind. We were created to be creative.
Yep. Mhm.
So there's no excuse for you not being intelligent. There's no excuse for you unless there's something mentally wrong, and it doesn't have to be a quote unquote mental illness. You can have a disability, a learning disability, or
Yes.
something like that. But if that's not the case, there is nothing stopping you from educating yourself. Knowledge is
Right.
power. Pick up a book, read,
Mhm.
read,
Yes.
educate yourself. Everything that I know how to do, it's by educating myself and actually doing it. So there's no excuse for a basic person just not knowing how to do something. It's just I don't play into that at all.
Yep. Mhm. Yep. That is awesome. Okay. You already answered the second question. You already answered that because I'll tell you anyway. But you already answered it. And the question was, what was it like growing up with your mom being a poet? But you already answered that.
Well, I guess it was the poet side of my mother was fascinating. My
Yes.
mother rubbed noses with people back then that were activists, Pan Africans. Pan Africanism was going on. My mother dealt with like Reverend Daughtry. My mother's book was, and her only book was edited by Luis Reyes Rivera, or that
Wow.
Luis Rivera Reyes. I think I'm mixing it up. And he was a very famous poet, very well known. He was dynamic, and these were the people that my mother, hobnobbed with. She was really, up there with people. So it was fascinating, you know, just being in her circle. And
Yes.
I knew then, I knew when I saw my mother perform, I was like, wow, wow.
Mhm.
I just knew. And when I saw Luis Rivera Reyes recite, and he was a very short man in stature, but powerful. You hear me? The man had a dashiki. He had a little, port caps on, and he always had these canes, these wooden canes, and he would just go. You would hear him kong 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 just coming down the aisle. You knew it was him, and he was powerful. And I remember just watching them as a child, and my mouth was open, tears were coming down. I didn't even realize I was crying because I was so awestruck by the powerfulness of words. And I knew that day, I said, I'm a poet. I'm doing this. This is what I want to do. So
Yes.
that was fun. Now that you spoke of my mom, this is her book, the Unlimited Mind.
Wow.
And she wrote this in 1983. We helped, when I say we, my sister Denise and I helped my mother with this book. We helped her put the pages together because back then, she couldn't afford to do that. She would go to a printer, have them print out the pages, have them print out the book cover that she designed herself. And we would sit there with the glue and put the pages in and bind them together. I would sit
Wow.
on them. My sister and I would sit on the books, you know,
Wow.
and
That is
this book,
wow.
yeah, this book is our life. We lived every single page of this book. So
Wow.
to republish my mother's book was an honor. It was hard to do, but it was an honor. For a lot of people don't know, my mom suffered from mental illness. She was a paranoid schizophrenic. She had every degree. She was working on her PhD before she passed. And my mother was a very smart woman, but she had a lot of mental issues going on. So life was rough. And of course, those mental issues were passed along down to her beautiful children, you know, and passing them along until you learn, okay, I can break this cycle. So for me to keep my sanity, I turned to poetry, and that's really, poetry became my friend because I didn't trust people. I had a lot of personality disorders. I couldn't trust people, so I would write poems, a poetic journal, and that was pretty much my life. That's why when I went to publish my books, I had so much poetry written down, you
Wow.
know.
Yep.
But yeah, it was interesting. Growing up with my mom was interesting.
And do you think if your mom, let's say, if your mom was not a poet, do you think you would still write poetry? Would you would still be a poet today, or
Yeah, I would be because it yeah, this yes, poetry is in my DNA, but there's
yes,
just something about poetry that that strikes me. If I was someone who couldn't write poetry, I would still promote it. I would still be involved with it because it's just that beautiful. You know, music is poetry. It's poetry with song, with sound and instrumental. So, so yeah, I would still be in poetry.
okay, that's awesome. Okay,
Mm.
and was your mom an influence on your style of writing?
Um, yeah, yes. My mom, I have to say she was a powerful poet, actually. Um, to hear my mom speak, wow, and deliver, yeah. Because when I recite, I go into my mom energy. I tap into my mother's aura, her sense of, because she's always around me. I'm a very spiritual person. And
Yeah.
before I start reciting, I'm already going, okay, mommy, it's time, and I channel my mother literally,
Mhm.
So yeah, she has a lot to do with how I recite and how I recite her my sister tells me too. It freaks her out because I can mimic my mom's voice and mimic her style when reading her poetry. It's a little
Wow,
freaky.
wow, that is wow, wow,
Yeah,
wow.
it's beautiful. And
Yes,
for
it
those
is.
who don't know, I have a cracked tooth over here.
Yes. Hmm.
So you got to excuse me if I'm not turning.
Okay, okay, okay. Um, which do you prefer, the structure of poetry or or free verse or both when you write?
I believe in being free.
Yeah,
Now, yes, I can write a haiku, a sonnet, an epiphany, a narrative. I think as a poet, you should not seclude yourself from the different forms. I
right.
purposely went into every form I could find just to, work on my craft and expand my craft. However, when I write, I'm free. I just,
Yes. Hmm.
whatever it is what it is. Now, my poetry, I can usually turn it into anything I want. I have poems that have turned into songs. I have poems that sound like sermons. I mean,
Hmm.
it depends. So I think freestyle for me is the best.
Mm. Okay, that's awesome. Yes, it is. That's what I like the best, and
Yeah,
I still like to do other forms too, and practice at it. But I still
right,
love the free verse. Yep.
right. Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
me
And
too.
yep. What is your favorite topic that you write about?
Oh, I don't have a favorite topic. To be
Oh,
to be real with you, I I write about everything and anything. There are times when, like, I have writing equipment stashed all over my house, even in my bathroom, because I don't know when something is going to inspire a poem. So I don't have a particular anything. I'll be asleep 2:30 in the morning and I'm writing a poem in the dark. So
Mhm.
it's whatever it is. I don't limit myself at all.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And okay. If anybody has any questions, you can feel free to post it in the comments anytime. Okay. Do you have any well, in between the questions you can read your poetry?
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Before I go,
We would
go
love to.
into
Yes.
before I go into that, let's. I just want people to know that I do, as you were saying, I am a business owner, licensed business owner here in Florida. Plots Proofing and Promoting Services LLC. I promote, I proofread. This is the stuff I do. And my DBA, doing business as, for those who don't know. Cyber Clerical Associates LLC. Again, it's just a part of Plots where I publish people's books. Some people, at the last minute, I try not to do that. It's because it's
Yeah.
work, but I publish people all over the world, and it's fun, and I give credit to Antonia Valaire, from Jamaica, because when I went, 2 years in 2020, she kept bugging me, Maxwanette, you need to publish your book, Maxwanette. And I was like, yeah, Antonia, and she wouldn't leave me alone. By the third time I said, okay, and I published two books back to back. And she was like, wait a minute. I had them sitting there. I just wasn't ready to publish them. And it just so happened now that I'm publishing other people's works. So, if you need your book published, I do a pretty darn good job. Hit me up. I can do it for you. But yeah, these are my two books. Oops. Here we go. Poetry Language of the Soul. Okay. Volume 1. And then there's this one here, The Poetic Storm, Volume 2, both available on Amazon. Um, they're like my yin and yang of poetry. That's what I like to call them. Because
Yes.
Poetry Language of the Soul is more of a softer tone. It's more about love and those kind of things. It's and emotions and positivity.
Hmm.
And the Poetic Storm is exactly what it is.
Yes.
It's raw. It may offend people.
Yes. Okay.
know, it steps on some toes.
Yep.
So I can read a few pieces. I'm going to start with my mother's, again, available, the Unlimited Mind.
Okay. Oh, we have another one coming up. Hello, Janine.
Hi,
Janine.
Janine.
Okay.
And to anyone that I haven't seen and said hello to, let me make sure. I just saw this man's name in here. Luis Reyes Rivera, that's his name. Uh,
Yes.
Very good poet, very good poet. And you know what? Since you brought up the fact in my bio that I read The Propeller at 12 years old at
Yes.
my mom's, that was my first poetry recital. I'm going
Wow.
to look for it in her book and read it to you.
Okay. Okay.
Um, just give me a second. Let me find it. Mom's book is 158 pages, so it's a reader.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff in here.
Mhm.
Here it is, page 87, and I'm going to. Okay, The Propeller
Mhm.
by Hyacinth Williams-Moncrieffe.
Mhm.
It's a long time since we said goodbye, but love's strong bond wants to fly. A propeller moving inside of me, emotions deserted and want to be. Stop that propeller moving, beating inside of me. My hours of sleep frequently disturbed, and body moved like it had been submerged. Those damn sweet moments I can't forget. The propeller beating inside of me. My body moved and twirled and swirled. Oh, mother's breast I long to get. Like a child, my tongue met. The propeller beats faster, faster, faster yet. Stop that propeller, that peller, peller, beating, beating inside of me. Again, by Hyacinth Williams-Moncrieffe. Mwah. I,
Wow.
I love my mom. I love my mom.
Wow. That
She
that
was
that.
something.
Mhm. Wow.
And she taught me to put emotions I took acting, and I have to say this.
Hmm.
I went to acting classes as a child. I went did drama. I played instrument, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, if you're a poet and you really want to craft your work,
Hmm.
please thank you, Janine. Please take acting classes. Go if you can't afford it. YouTube has everything, people. This stuff is free. Please learn how to put emotions into your work. It is such a butchery to hear people recite poetry and it sounds dead every single time.
Wow. Hmm.
Put feeling. Poetry is life.
Yes.
I don't want to hear poetry and then you hear poetry and you're like, oh, and you're
Hmm.
not listening and you're falling asleep. Poetry is life, man. You must make it come alive. So
Yes.
let's see. Here's again my book, Poetry, Language
Hmm.
of the Soul. Let's
Yep,
see.
that's the one I have. Yes.
Oh, is there one in particular you'd like me to read, Noreen? Or you
Um, there's no particular one. Whatever which one you want to read, I'll leave it up to you.
okay, let's see. Good question.
Hmm.
Huh. Okay.
Hmm.
Here's a piece called Because I Love You. Now, as I'm glimpsing over the piece, oh wow. Matter of fact, there's an inspiration in the back. So let me let me read it.
Okay.
Inspired by what was thought to be lost loves. Instead, it brought full circle that love is never lost. Oh, there's a Facebook user there. Thank you for
Yes.
agreeing. Okay. By expressing how much I really love someone allowed me to be free. I was bound to silence by my true feelings due to residual pains and from whatever pain they caused put me through or what I allowed. It is okay to love people who cannot or do not love you in return. Many simply do not know what real love is, how to love others, or even lack the love of themselves. Sitting around in one sided love relationships, intimate or not, are draining and not wise. One can lose their sense of self and so much more in these types of situations. Instead, I found it best to re examine self and why I allowed myself to remain in such a negative space. Love must start from within and with self first. Real love exists on its own merit and embraces those that represent it. Don't expect love, simply be love and spread it as far as you can. It will always come back to you. So, obviously, this poem was written during some relationship I had, and I was the only one loving and wasn't getting it in return.
Wow.
So this is what is the name of that singer? I, I can't remember her name, but singers who when they go through stuff and they write about it. So
Yes.
poets, we do the same thing. So again, because I love you,
Mhm.
I had to express how I felt.
Mhm.
It mattered not the cards that were dealt. Emotions and feelings simply do what they do. I held this love for you so deep within my core that I was no longer thinking. I was just feeling and wondering why I felt so trapped. Never, never wanting to reveal emotions that made me feel like no one else could ever overstand the depths of my soul as I wept. Letting you know that I cared, but you always known. You simply weren't reciprocating, and the complication became me. See, I feared love. I hated love. I just couldn't understand the damn thing.
Wow.
But I started with me, loving all of my being, and it is a joy that's everlasting. So telling you how I feel turned into a two-way deal, and I released you from within my soul, allowing it to be healed, sending love's energy back to its rightful place. It allowed me to be free because I
Mhm.
loved you. Thank you. Thank you. I saw we had some. Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay.
Thank you, Noreen.
Welcome. Hello, Dickie. That was my brother,
Oh,
Richard
hi,
Huggins. That was
Vicky.
my
How
brother.
you doing?
Yeah.
Okay. Since
Mhm.
this is a yin and yang, I have a let me slip over here and just a little excerpt, completely off topic. I've started something new. I also
Yeah.
publish coloring books. Unfortunately, I didn't get it
Okay.
in the mail as of yet, so I can't show it to you. But if you go on Amazon and put in "Color with Me" by Maxwanette A Poetess, it'll show up, and it's from ages 2 to 5. For the little people.
Yes. That's
There'll be more coloring books. Trust me.
yes.
Okay, so we have here. Okay, again, the poetic storm,
Yes.
and let me see. Let's see. Let me see if I can find one that's not too harsh.
Mhm.
Unless the audience is ready for that, then you know.
Mhm.
Um, Let me take a look here and see what we have. Um, oh, you know what? I know there's a piece in here. Give me 1 second. Is it is it the end? I think it's in the last. Yes, I did this piece
Mhm.
with music. It's called Undefeatable.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna read it to you. Oh wow,
Okay.
I hope I do it justice. Again,
Okay.
it's called Undefeatable. This piece was created just going through life. And, life, we all know life can really beat you.
Right.
It can take you places that you just didn't want to go.
Yes.
And you find yourself in places that you don't think you can survive. um it can do you some things, and sometimes you get to that point in life where you're down and you feel beaten and depressed, and you're like, you know what, I just can't go on. And
Mm.
I was in that moment when I had a lot of personal family issues going on, and this poem was written like maybe 20 years ago almost.
Okay.
And it just was published in 2020. And again, I needed sometimes you don't have someone there to talk to. You don't have your own sharing section. You have to become that.
Yes.
So
That is so true.
peace, was what became my sharing section. And
Mm.
it's called Undefeatable. It's on
Okay.
page 136. It's the last page in the book.
Okay.
I will not be stopped. I refuse to be conquered. My soul is too strong, as it was built on the backs of my ancestors.
Mhm.
Defeat is not included within the design of my being. There are no obstacles in life. Instead, there are experiences that provoke reactions and lead a pathway to newfound knowledge. I stand firm with a blueprinted, coded knowing of self, a divine creation. I will not be stopped. I refuse to be conquered. I live in this life and the next, and I am undefeatable. So that was a piece that I use even
Wow.
it's my go-to poem.
That is powerful. I love it.
Thank you, Noreen.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Mhm.
What else would you like, Noreen? Because I have a lot of stuff here. Tell me what you need. If anyone
Okay.
has any questions, feel free. I also have a online magazine called
Yes.
Plots Creatives Magazine. Just put in plotscreativemagazine.com, and I publish creatives all over the globe. I publish their poetry, their pictures, they're doing dance, because creativity is not just poetry. I would love to just hog poetry and say that's all creativity is. I would be selfish. And
Mhm.
we have creativity in everything, everything that we do. So, I publish people there. You dancing is creativity. Singing is creativity. Cooking, architects, sculptors, teachers. You listen, honest, if you really want to think about this and simplify this even more, let's say in layman's terminology, every single person that is alive, taking breath, is a creative. Because the minute you wake up and you breathe,
Yes.
you are creating yourself to move and be prepared for movement in life.
Right.
Oh yeah. So when
Mhm.
people say I'm not a creative, you'd be surprised. We're
Yep.
all creatives. All
Yes.
creatives. And I'm going
Yes.
to tell you something. Put someone in a position with their back against the wall and see how they respond. They start getting creative to find
Yes.
ways to battle that or defeat it or get out of it. Okay?
Right.
Oh yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Mhm.
I agree. Yes.
Thank you, thank you. Let me see what else I got. Let me look at my mom's book. I love to go back to
Okay.
mommy's book
Okay.
because again, she's the catalyst of all of this. It's just
Okay.
some.
Is your mom's book still in on Amazon?
Oh yes, I just published it this year. The first publication was in 1983, and I republished it in June. Yeah, in June.
Yes. Okay, that is awesome.
Oh yeah, so you can find the Unlimited Mind. Oh
Hmm.
yeah, by Hyacinth Williams-Moncrieffe. It's on Amazon, hot off the presses. Um. Oh wow. Which poem to read? I, she just has so many that
Wow.
is. Oh, I got one. This
Okay.
piece, and I hope she doesn't beat me up in my sleep. I don't need any visits.
She'll be honored. She'll be honored. She'll give you a pat on the back and say, "You you you did well done." I believe that
I
to
don't
say
know.
well
I'm
done.
about to tell her little secret. This piece that I'm going to read was from a boyfriend she had, and I remember him very well because he was I was young, but he was a very good looking man. I was like, ooh, go ahead, mommy, you good catch. But you see, looks on the sea, he looked good, but he wasn't good. But
Oh.
okay, she wrote a poem because she was very in love with him at the time.
Hmm.
Nature knows that they belong. Leah, Mimi, and Lennox John, their bodies entwined, expressed like one. Soul, heart, and mind move sexually, rhythmically in line. Their bodies moved and shaped like one. Leah, Mimi, and Lennox John. Nature knows that they belong. She never creates anything that's wrong. Two artists, words, timing, beauty meant so much to them. That portrait shaped by nature's realm. Oh, ebonic figure made to your desire. Leah, Mimi, and Lennox John, their bodies moved and shaped like one. Nature knows that they belong. She never creates anything that's wrong. Experimenters, geniuses, creators of arts, music, dances, and poetry. Their bodies move accurately at a rhythmic glance, bring about feelings in a figurative romance. Leah, Mimi, and Lennox John. Nature knows that they belong. She never creates anything that's wrong. Yeah, that was my mom's little hot thing.
Wow. That was wow. That was awesome.
She was something else. She was something
Yeah.
else. You have any questions for me, Noreen? If anyone
Okay.
has any questions, please feel free.
Okay. Oh, yeah, the Facebook user I think is Jimmy. Jimmy Davis. I mean, not Jimmy Davis. Oh no. Miss, yeah, Jenny, yeah, Jenny. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get their names mixed.
Oh,
Okay,
that's all right.
okay. Because the Facebook user said, "Hey, Robbie," and then the Facebook user said, "Oh, hey, Jenny." So it must be um Jenny. Okay.
I think they're having a nice conversation between themselves.
Yes. Okay. 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 Tell us more about your podcast you have on
Oh,
on the
yes.
Plots podcast.
We do. We have a podcast that goes plots. First of all, the acronym for plots is actually poetry, language of the soul. Plots.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, we see Jimmy Ray Davis. We see you and
Yes.
Robbie's multimedia poetry.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and Plots is a podcast is exactly what it is. It's a platform that I developed
Hmm.
for creatives and just general life issues. We talk about anything. We're pretty free on the podcast. There's no limit to what we will discuss. I just make sure that we don't use profanity, that we respect everyone, space, and we can all agree to disagree.
Yes.
Okay, I see a question here. What is your favorite work from your mom?
Yes.
Wow. Wow, that's a good one. Okay, hold on. I'm going to tell you what it is actually in 1 second. The podcast again is it's on Anchor and Spotify.
Hmm.
And it's Anchor at Maxwanette. And again, uh, come on through. Let's give us a listen. I read people's poetry. We have guests on, and again, we throw a lot of things out there. My mom has a poem that she wrote that was actually about me, and
Wow.
I think that's probably, I don't know. Is that my favorite? It's one of my favorites.
Hmm.
Let's see if I can find it. I think it's called Moving Up in This World. I think so. Let me just double check. That was a good question. Okay, yeah, this is it. Now I'll give you a little history about this piece before I read it.
Hmm.
My mom she wasn't the type of mother that we quote unquote call ghetto. My mother was really, you know, what we in Jamaica we call stush or hoity toity or very, elegant, regal. My mother was that type of person. And she reared us. We were raised to, set the table, and we had little handkerchiefs and gloves and things like this. My mother was very, lady, and etiquette was a big thing with my mother. So,
Hmm.
it kind of set her apart from the other people that we grew up around. And people just thought my mother thought she was better than everybody else. And my mother didn't have a lot of friends,
Wow.
you know,
Hmm.
kind of rubbed off.
Hmm. Wow. Hmm.
I keep my circle very small and tight. But I remember one day my mom was very depressed about it. And I
Hmm.
I I was so upset that my mother was upset that I started writing her letters. I had to be like maybe 7, 8. I started writing her letters every day and sneaking out into the mailbox and putting it in the mailbox. Mind you, there was no stamp on it except the stamp that I drew, but I didn't care, you know. And I would pretend and go to the mailbox and like, Mom, you have mail. And she go, No, there's nothing in there. Like, no, 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 no. I think there's something in there. And and
Hmm.
I go, Look, mommy, you got a piece of mail. I wonder where this is from. And unbeknown to me, my mother wrote a poem about it. I did not realize she wrote a poem about it until way after she had passed,
Wow.
even though I had the book.
Hmm.
Okay. So it's called Moving Up in the World.
Okay.
Days waited patiently for friends to return your calls. No one knocks any longer on your front door. No one thinks of you at all. Not even the man from your friendly store.
Hmm.
You are moving up in this world, moving up in this world.
Hmm.
Selected many activities to occupy your mind, one that is unsatisfied. Mails were placed in your neighbor's box, but yours? An empty piece of metal slot. Each day the children check. They checked the box. To them, it was quite a shock. You are moving up in this world, moving up in this world. A child, she came rushing in, got from the slot what was within. An advertisement, it was for slipcovers. These are the words my daughter said. Mommy, don't your friends write or call you anymore? Mommy, this is the last day this will occur. You will get a letter every day when the mail, even on holiday. You are moving up in this world, moving up in this world. I did not believe the child. I could not believe the child.
Mhm.
For some reason, I don't know why. To my surprise, it was the last day that a letter did not arrive. For the rest of the year, a letter came. Each and every one bore my name. The bold prints clearly seen on them. Happy Mother's Day, happy post Mother's Day, happy Easter, happy Christmas, happy New Year, happy summer day, happy spring day, happy birthday. You are moving up in this world, moving up in this world. Each illustrates a great part of my life. The prints of bright crayons, pen, pencil, marker that look right. I read, Mommy, Mommy, you are a good mommy. You wash my clothes, cook my food, love me and tuck me to bed. Mommy, I really love you. I want no one to hurt you again. You are moving up in the world, moving up in this world. The cards, the letters came every day in the metal box without a stamp they lay. Mommy, Mommy, the last one I received said, Mommy, I'll be your lover, your friend, your daughter. I will call every day, even when the mailman is on holiday. Mommy, I really love you. I want no one to hurt you again. You are moving up in this world, moving up in this world. I almost teared up a second ago because I remember. Wow, I'm catching feelings. I'm trying to. Whew, I re. Wow, wow. Thank
Wow.
you. I don't know who the Facebook user is, but thank you. I
Mhm.
remember how sad we have to forget, and this is a lot to do with my motto, where I
Yes.
said we're all in this thing called life together. Remember, namaste and one love. We forget that we need each other. And
Yes.
just not getting any mail, not hearing from anyone. Think about in COVID, the people who didn't have anyone and heard nothing from anyone. Did you not notice how mental illness was on a rise? Because people, we need people. Barbara Streisand used to sing that. Thanks, Ellen. We need to check on each other. Say hello,
Yes.
say hi, ask
Yes.
how you doing. Even if it's the meanest person, I'm going to tell you something. The meanest person in your neighborhood needs the
Yes.
most love.
Yes.
Write
They
them a
do.
note. I used to do this as a child. The meanest person, I get a little strip of paper and write them a note and go, "I love you," and stick it in their mailbox and just and watch them through the window, looking and looking around, mad and upset and ripping up the. But I knew that when love you, sis, I love you too, whoever that is. Mwah. Put the Facebook user who said I love you, sis. Write your name there so I can see who you are. We have to love each other, Noreen. you
Yes, we
know
do.
it's
Yes.
it's important, it's imperative to survival. Too
Yes.
many people leave this place
Mhm.
lacking of love within
Yes.
self, and from others. And it's we can stop it. It's one of the easiest things that we can fix.
Yes.
Oh, Christine Reynolds, Capo's daughter. Yes. And for those who don't know, Capo, it was a Malachi. Capo Reynolds was a very famous artist in Jamaica. I mean, phenomenally famous. And he's just, oh, his work. Google him. His work is just It's something else. It's just it's
Yes.
beyond words, beyond words. Good to see you, Christine. Thanks for the support.
Mhm.
But yeah, it took me a long time to do my mom's book, and because it's so personal,
Yes.
it was draining. It literally drained me because when I do my work, I put myself into it. It's a soul effort, and I could feel the energies, and it was just I had to put the book down and come back to it. It took a lot. It took a lot to get this book out, and I thought that it was never going to get done. I had to pray on it.
Yes. And I want to let you know I love that poem that you should read too. It was beautiful. And
Thank
moving
you.
on up. I love it. You're very
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
very welcome.
Yeah, my mom was amazing. But yeah, I like to put my hands in all kinds of things. As far as did that come out right? I just like to stay busy. I'm an entrepreneur, um, and I just like to keep going. I don't think if when I'm still, I'm either sick or dead because it's just not my thing. I'm always moving. I'm always doing something, and poetry, working with the creators. I mean, it's such a beautiful experience. I can't even yourself, Noreen, meeting you and all these wonderful poets and creatives has been such a beautiful experience. Every day I meet someone new. Every day, I have a wonderful experience. Even the negativity, I've had negativity that can last lifetimes dealing with some creatives. And you know what? I'm not even upset about it because it's a part of life.
Yes.
You have to know how to find your yin and yang, that even balance, you know? So, again, it doesn't really bother me like that. And I just keep going because I just love helping people. It's kind of just my thing, you know? What else you got? Anybody have any more questions?
Um.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Okay.
Let me
Okay.
see.
Did you have any other hobbies that you are passionate about?
Oh, other than poetry, I'm an avid book reader. Yeah, I'm a mega nerd. I'm always reading. Um, I've lost a lot of my books in moving, so I'm
Wow.
grateful for the internet and modern technology, so that I can read. It's limitless. So, but I'm a
Yes.
reader. I am a reader. I just got a dog, and sad to say, I had to take him back where I got him from because
Oh no.
yeah, it hurt my heart. Because my apartment complex doesn't like that breed, and
Oh.
of course it was a pit bull, and they didn't want the pit bull here. And I understand it. I raised 15 pit bulls in New York, so I'm
Wow.
a pit bull lover. And I love pit bulls because to me they're like my spirit animal, because I can connect with the animal, being the underdog, being the one people don't like the most, being the one that people just stereotype because of what you think they are or what people
Yes.
say they are. Let me tell you something about pit bulls. Okay, because like I said, I had pit bulls that I had that were trained when I couldn't speak because of my illnesses. There were times when I couldn't speak. I couldn't talk, and all I could do was make commands with sounds and hands. Love pit bulls, sweetest dogs ever. Mwah! Yes, they are. How many people remember the Little Rascals? Petey was a pit
Oh
bull.
yeah. Oh, it was. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh yes, Petey was a pit. Mhm.
Wow.
Oh yeah. So and I train my animals. The animal is based on the owner. So if you have
Yes.
a wild rabbit, crazy pit bull, it is not the dog's fault. It is the owner
Yes.
and or the breeder, because a lot of people don't know what they're doing. They're breeding these dogs. They're crossbreeding these dogs and messing up the pit bull line.
Yes.
Pit bulls are loyal. They're faithful. You hear me? They're
Yes.
protectors.
Hmm.
They are one of the, that's what I'm saying. They know what I'm talking about. Pit bulls are one of the most smartest animals. I'm telling you. When I took him back to the shelter on Sunday, I'm
Yes.
normally that one that's that quick to show my emotions. I
Hmm.
was so angry. I was crying. I was yelling and crying. I was mad. I
Wow.
was. Oh, I would, because he just got. I had him for 3 days. He knew his name exactly. Ellen, what you put in is what you get out. Exactly. He
Yep.
started answering to his name. His name was Neo.
Wow.
NEO, like in the Matrix, that means new beginning. My sister Denise picked the name. My sister Elizabeth and my family in the Philippines, and my nephew Dominique helped pick the name. She picked. We all voted. I was going with Zen, but we went with Neo because it fit. And by day three, he was answering to his name. By day three, he was giving me kisses. This is a dog who is skittish, wouldn't go to people, scared of everything.
Wow.
And, it broke my heart to,
Mm.
to have to take him back. I just exploded when I got in there. I was livid because,
Wow.
they lied on the paperwork. And I had a feeling he was a pit, but he didn't look it because in the nose area and the eyes was different.
Yes.
But something, I was like, okay. I said, well, is he a pit? And I'm looking at the paperwork because he didn't look like the pit bulls I had.
Right.
They're like, no, we don't know the breed, blah blah blah. Lies, lies. Because when I
Wow.
checked the microchip paperwork in front of my management office, it said pit bull. They just looked at me like, mm-mm, mm-mm. I couldn't even lie my way out of it. There
Wow.
was no way. So I had to take him back.
Wow.
So, that was very hard for me. I was very upset. And uh, maybe I'll get another dog, maybe. But right now, I'm going to relax. If I do, I will get a smaller animal that fits within the guidelines
Yes.
of what, my apartment likes. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's what it is. But other than that, my hobbies are, like I said, I'm a worker. I just help
Yes.
people. I do a lot. I'm a licensed notary. I think you see my notary stuff in the back.
Yes.
I'm a licensed notary here in Florida.
Yes.
I notarize a lot of work I do for people for free, actually, because people can't afford it.
Right. Yes.
I pay my taxes, and I run my businesses, and I do things for free. Matter of fact, I wanted to put a plug out there.
Okay.
If you come on my podcast and you follow it, and it's 99 cents a month for those who want to support me, with donations. You don't have to. If you do, please, if you want to, please do. But you can also support me by sharing the links, listening, viewing,
Hmm.
and those of you who share me with at least 10 people, and I can get up there where I need to get, I'll publish your book for free. That's the prize that I'm offering.
Hmm.
We know how expensive it is to publish books. So,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. But yeah,
Hmm.
that's it's I know we've passed our time. It's like 8:04.
But it can go.
Um
It can go longer too.
if
Because
you
I
want
was
me to read
suggesting
anything,
we can go
yeah.
long as we want it. Mhm.
If
Okay.
anybody had any questions for me, please feel free.
Mhm.
Now is the time.
Yes. Mhm.
Let's see. If you would like to have your works published in our online magazine, Plots Creators Magazine, I have 1.1 subscribers already. We have over 63,000 viewers. So people get their works noticed. Trust what I tell you. You're getting your
Yes.
work noticed. If
Yes.
you want, just, you can hit me up on WhatsApp by text. You can Facebook Messenger me, or you can my WhatsApp number is 1-321-566-4297. You can email me, Max A
Hmm.
Poetess at yahoo.com. If you're
Hmm.
sending me poems, 2 to 3 poems, please. Um, you could include your picture on a bio. If you're an artist, send me at least 3 pictures, 3 to 4 pictures of your paintings, your sculptings, however have you. If you have music out there, Send me at least three of your recordings. Whatever it is that you have that's creative, send it to me and I'll publish it. I'm also starting to accept people who are quote unquote writing emotionally sharp piece of rap for the you went to the wow. Which Facebook user is that? Is that that's not
Um,
is that Christine? I'm not sure. Facebook user, we have spoken on the difficulties of writing an emotionally charged piece of work. Thank you. Yeah, it's hard sometimes.
yes.
Every book that Christine, thanks Christine. Yeah, it's difficult. It can be.
Hmm.
Um, every poem that I write, there's an emotion attached to it. We're
Yes.
poets, you know.
Right. Yes.
Poetry, language of the soul, is coming from in here. So yeah,
Yes.
it's emotional and sometimes draining, and you know it's good to get it out on paper because it's also very, as you know, very therapeutic. You don't have to share it if you don't want to, but
No.
at least get it out, put it down, put it on paper, and you can go back and revisit it.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Mwah. Thank you so much. I love you all too. Christine, I'm assuming that's you. You know I love you, Christine. I would not be doing justice if I didn't read one of my poems that's written in the language of my culture and ancestors.
Okay.
And I'm Jamaican by blood. For those who don't know, I was born in Brooklyn, New York, but my mom and dad were both born in Jamaica, West Indies. Daddy was born in St. James. He grew up in Westmoreland, and my mother was born in St. Anne's in Discovery Bay. So
Okay.
I have a piece here that I'm going to read in our native tongue, which is called Patois. Word. So Patois is a mixture of different languages, but it is our own. Okay? You may understand it, you may not, but this piece is basically talking about it's in my blood, meaning Jamaica is being Jamaican is in my blood because growing up, when you were born in America, you were not considered Jamaican. And I was treated poorly. There's a
Yes.
lot of other people being born here and not actually being born in Jamaica. Over the years and with time, Jamaica now does acknowledge your Jamaican parentage, you
Yes.
know. So that's a beautiful thing. But I had a sibling that used to tease me all the time. He used to call me a Yankee, and for growing up, that was an embarrassment. And you were a child. I didn't know
Yes.
better. Oh, thank you, Janine. Growing up as a child, I didn't know better. They were coming. My family was coming from Jamaica to be American, to get the fruits of the American labor. So why were you calling me a Yankee? That's kind of oxymoronic. If you want to think about it, But okay. I was young, I didn't know better. But again, you just want to fit in. And then Americans did not, I didn't fit in with them because they said I was Jamaican, because my parents are both Jamaican. I had a very heavy Jamaican accent. So I had no one, I had no clique. I didn't fit in anywhere. I was a loner. But it happens. What you gonna do? So
Yes.
this piece called Enemy Blood.
Yes.
Me no know what all this problem about. After all this you done talking say about me about me a Yankee. Tell me now, how all this nice for? Yes, I far me born. Say what? But my parents them a natural born yardie. Most of my family member them are strictly yard them born and grow up. So what that met me? A Jamaican? No true say America me born no watch no face. Jamaica run through my veins. Mommy did I look opportunity and daddy did I take disadvantage. I saw it go. I know my fault that. Jamaica, sure. No question, no delay. Jamaica, it's in my blood, sir. Yeah, man, you don't know. Nobody can deny me. Because I feel liberty by my people. Me sitting at a position without inquisition. That a that's of me people come from. A that's of my ancestors call out to me. To make me know, say, a them a help to carry me through upon feed them back me tongue. Jamaica, man, it's in my blood. Out of many, one people. That's the Jamaican motto. So I couldn't,
Wow.
couldn't do this without
Wow.
doing
You
a
did. You,
poem.
you did. Wow. I give you outstanding ovation for that.
Thank
Wow.
you.
You're
I
very
love
welcome.
Jamaica.
That, wow. Wow.
Thank you, Noreen. I
You're very
appreciate you.
welcome.
I appreciate you.
Yes.
But yeah, we love, I love Jamaica. Jamaica's going through a lot of turmoil right now, but creativity is gonna bring it back out. Trust and
Yes.
believe. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. There's so many great, awesome creatives in Jamaican.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yes, like like Craig
Correct.
Kirkland.
Yeah, Amaziah the Great. Yes.
Yes, I'm not the other great. Yep. And you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Oh, thank you, Noreen.
You're
I
very
appreciate
welcome.
that. I appreciate it.
Because I remember when you told me that before we met, that you saw me doing the Facebook Live, and you were so in awe of me, and I gave you, I was inspiring to you, and it made me feel really good. So thank you.
You should, Noreen, because I could remember, for those who don't know, you all see me now and I'm here, I'm animated, I'm alive, but there
Mhm.
was a time when no one knew what I looked like. There were no pictures on Facebook. I would not come out. I was in my little show and I liked it there. And I
Yeah.
will admit, there are times when I do miss it. And because I'm like, I can't do this live thing. And I remember I started seeing you, and I was in awe. I'm like, Noreen is just sitting there, just out there in the element, doesn't care, just in doing her thing. And I'm like, well, I'll be doggone. And I just would watch you, and it inspired me. I was like, you know what? I could do this. I think I could do it. And I just got involved. Antonia, again, thanks to Antonia Valer. I say her name a lot because Antonia brought me into the fold. How I knew about the poets in Jamaica was through Yassa Safari, who
Yes.
is Jamaican, a popular and well-known Jamaican dub poet. And he directed me to Antonia. And Antonia directed me to so many people: Amaziah, Rasatiba, Cherry Natural. I mean, and then I just started going out and just spreading and meeting everybody else. Mars the poet, Lasias Kenton, Marcia Jackson, Roy, Roy, I can't remember his last name. There's so many people. I was on the Real Stuff podcast, with Flavius, Courtney, and Franco. I love them dearly.
Yes.
That's not, every now and then when I get a moment, I'll pop in. Elizabeth Escarrera Castillo. That's my girl.
Yes.
Shahida Bass, Anna, Christine Reynolds, who's on here as well as a creative. Mm.
Yes.
True, true, Christine. True, true. She's talking about, yeah, Jamaica. Yeah, I think they were jealous, really and truly, that
Yes.
I was born in America. And I love my American roots because America's where I was born and raised, right here
Mhm.
in the USA. And yes, America may not be the best country in the world, but it's a
Yes.
lot better than a lot of them.
Yes. That's the
And we
truth.
have a lot of opportunities here. It took me going to other countries to see and appreciate what I have here in America,
Yeah.
because we take what we have here in America for granted. A lot of people do not have what we have here. And I'm
Yes.
just going to say, even healthcare. And even though here in Florida, healthcare is not good, it's
No.
still better than in other countries. And that's just one thing. That's why so many people come here. The land of opportunity, jobs, healthcare, making it. It
Yeah.
is what it is, you know. So give America its props as well.
Yeah.
I can. I'm on. I don't have any. I'm not picking sides. I have Jamaican blood, and I'm from America, and I grew up in the hood. I grew up in the ghetto. I didn't grow up
Yeah.
in the nice fancy places. Where I live, matter of fact, where I grew up, I lived a block away from Shirley Chisholm.
Mhm.
Believe it or not. That was my inspiration as a child. I would walk to the end of my block on St. John's Place in Bedford Stuyvesant, for those who know New York. And I would look up at her window because I knew Shirley Chisholm lived up there. She wasn't even looking, and I'd be down there waving, and I was just so
Wow.
thrilled
Mhm.
that she lived there. You
Yes.
know, oh yeah. So again, these are the things that I grew up with. Sure, Janine. Anybody send me a friend request. I love, I just love being friends with people. I love sharing positive vibes and all of that. And if I can help you with something, I will surely happily do it. If I can't, I will do my best to find you the resource. But it's always nice to connect with like-minders and positive people. Namaste and one love all the time to everyone. But
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What else you got for me, Noreen?
Okay.
I can talk forever. You got to stop me.
Okay. Okay. What advice would you give to the novice and to poets and the writers? What advice?
Okay, for novice poets and writers, like I said before, read, 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 read. Expand your mind. That's the most, because the more that you expose this to, the more fodder you have for writing poetry. Okay? Your vocabulary is important. Teach yourself a new word every day. It's very important. You'd be surprised. People say, "Oh, you're such a great wordsmith." Well, yeah, because I read a lot, and I love knowledge. So these things are important. Don't give up. I have some people that I've read their poems and they weren't good, or they're doing drawings that aren't good, or they're doing music that isn't good.
Yeah.
Normally, people don't start unless they're a child prodigy. They usually don't start out good. You have
Right.
to work on your craft. So
Yes.
don't give up. If you're serious about it, keep going,
Yes.
keep at it, and stay focused. Put in the work, and be open to constructive criticism. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
What else you got for
Okay.
me?
Okay. And Jimmy Ray Davis said, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And anybody else out there have any question for her? While we waiting for somebody to ask a question, I have another one. What do you think is a major problem issue in this world, and do you have any resolutions to it?
Oh yes, I ask this question a lot too when I interview people.
Yes.
I mean, I could say money. I could
Hmm.
say healthcare. I can say a lot of crime. But what I'm going to say is the lack of love, because the lack of love is the major thing. That
Yes.
has a domino effect that covers everything. It umbrellas everything else. And this is, I think, is the major problem that we face in humanity, is
Yes.
the lack of love, real love, the lack of that. The lack of love for self, the lack of love for others, the lack of love for animals, the lack of love for nature, that lack of love. Because you see, if it's very simple.
Yes.
If you love people, okay. Oh, Janine said a speech impediment. Oh, I'm going to talk about that, Janine. Noreen, remind me about that.
Okay, I will.
Oh, I'll find you, Jimmy. I'll find you.
Okay.
Okay, follow me. I'll find you. Um,
Mhm.
again, if you love someone, if you love yourself, and you love
Yes.
life itself, you're not going to do certain things. It's just that
Right.
simple. So when you see people doing these negative atrocities,
Yes. Hmm.
greed, crime, you name it, it's lack of genuine love. We remember this song, us older people, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of.
Yes.
That could be it. What do I do as a resolution?
Hmm.
I try to share it and spread it as much as possible. I try to be kind to people as much as I can. I try to help people as much as possible to show them that, listen, there's love here. There's love
Mhm.
here. I try to be love. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I have my off days too, like anybody else. You should have seen me earlier today. I had to tell my sister, do not talk to me. I'm in a negative zone because something was bothering me and it threw off my energies. And I didn't have time to zen myself up,
Mm.
you know? So again, it does happen. You're not going to be positive and happy and jovial all the time. That's why it's good to spread love because sometimes you need someone else. When you're not feeling that positive vibe, you need a recharge from someone else. Just like someone can connect with you and share their negative vibe with you. Yeah, it's real. Vibes and energies are real, people. Think about it. When someone's feeling nasty and ugly and they call you with that energy, the next thing you know, you're feeling the same thing.
Yes.
If you sit down, test this experiment. Sit down and start laughing for no reason around people. First, yeah, people are gonna look at you like you're crazy, but then people are gonna be laughing
Right.
because
Because that's contagious. Yes. Mhm.
exactly. So you
Yes.
you you can spread love, you can spread joy, help someone. Oh,
Yes.
blessings, Missy. Namaste. Thank you. You saw what you. Oh, thank you. It's not that difficult. You want to change, and how I change. Do one thing. Empathy. Yep, yep. Very true, Christine. Very true words, Christine. You know,
Yes.
we sit there, we wonder, well, how can I make a difference? I can't do anything. I'm only one person. All you need is one person. All we need is one. We are that one that we need.
Yes.
So if you see someone hungry, give them something to eat.
Yes.
Maybe you're at the store in line and you see
Mhm.
a mother struggling. Maybe you can pay for something. Maybe you can't. Times are hard. Maybe you may be able to take out a fruit or something and offer a child with a sink to a mother that's having her day. You see that some of the children are going nuts. The mother's frustrated. She offer to talk to the child, but do something to distract the child to make the child feel happy. But you got to be careful because you don't want people thinking you're kidnapping their child or you're
Right.
a pedophile. but
Yes.
oh, thanks, Jimmy. I have to tell you, I
Mhm.
did not start out. That's incorrect. I was born this type of energy. I got
Yes.
beaten down in life by the negative energy. There was a time in life where I didn't laugh and I didn't smile. There was a time in my life when I was so down and dark and stuck in the proverbial hell that was created for me. I did not know how to get out of it. I battled depression. I battled all kinds of I was going through some things,
Mhm.
but this was like over 20 years ago, mind you. Okay.
Yeah.
And I tried everything. I tried religion. I tried medication. You name it. I pretty much tried it. Nothing worked. I
Mhm.
prayed, I fasted, I did everything I could. I was being extra nice and nothing was I was like, well, what the heck?
Mhm.
And then I had to just stop and look at myself for who I was and learn how to love me. That was the problem. I'm up here trying to love everybody else and had no love of self. Retarded. And we do this
Right.
without knowing. We self sabotage ourselves without realizing this. You have got to learn, you have got to find how to fix you and
Yes.
how to love the you within you, the good, the bad, the ugly, the sane, the crazy, the beautiful, everything that encompasses who you are. You have got to learn to embrace that person. And I also decided that the child within me that wasn't allowed to come out, oh, she's out now. Oh, yes. That's right. You become your own light. That's right. That's right. I had to because I hug trees. People think I'm nuts. I don't care what people think.
No.
I can't do grounding because the soil over here is just. But yeah, I'll go. Tree hugging is very therapeutic. Grounding is a beautiful thing to do.
Yes.
It's the way to release those energies and get things flowing, and You need people need to find what works for you, okay,
Yes.
and do it, share it, spread it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Hmm. Okay. And you told me to remind you about the what did Janine said she
Right.
said I myself have a speech impediment due to accident from childhood. You told me to remind you about that. You're going to bring something up about that.
I am so glad. Thank you, Noreen. I am so glad that Janine brought that up. A lot of people, because I'm so fluent in speaking. A lot of people just think, oh, she's okay. I stammer. I had a nice stutter, and even now, if I get too excited or I get too emotional, oh yeah, it comes out. I am slightly dyslexic. I see numbers and dyscalculia, which is the dyslexia for numbers. Oh
Yes.
yeah. So I had to train myself, and my mom trained me from my youth, from as a child, how to see them properly, because it was more the brain has to be quick even though the eyes are telling you something else. So like sevens look like the letter F to me. Even now they do, but because I know that can't be what it is, I know to switch it around so my brain and my eyesight match up.
Yes.
Okay. And again, a lot of Janice says she knows I'm crazy, but I embrace it because it's me. Plus it helps me conquer life on life. Let me tell you something, Janine. Crazy is the new thing. Honestly, it's always been the thing. We're not crazy, they're crazy.
Yes.
And a creative back in the days was called crazy.
Hmm.
You know how many creatives got lobotomies back then in those days? Because they saw things on levels that others did not see. So they had to be crazy.
Yes.
Think about that. When I'm creating a poem, you can't see that. That's within
Yep.
here.
Right.
That's something that I have to put on paper so that someone else can understand it.
Yes.
So, creators are always seen as crazy because we're different in that way, that we embrace our creativity without limit. She says, I know I'm crazy. I have proof. What proof do you have? Do you have a diagnosis that says you're crazy? Because I'm going to tell you something about those diagnoses. You got to be careful. That's
Right.
because a doctor says you're crazy does not mean you're crazy.
Right.
Don't
Amen.
misunderstand.
Amen.
That's right. Don't misunderstand. You know how many doctors
She's
I
not
see?
crazy. And Janine is not crazy. She is a sweet, yet she is sweet, beautiful soul. And she's very talented poet. So I don't consider her crazy. She's a sweet, beautiful soul. Hmm.
I love crazy. I,
Hmm.
People say,
Hmm.
"Are you crazy?" I go, "Yep." As a bed bug under a rug. Yep. And I
Hmm.
have no problems with that because I've gotten to the point in life where I no longer care what people think about me. I no longer care how people want to classify me.
Yes. Hmm.
Yes, you have clinical depression. Again, I've dealt with. I used to be a case manager for the mentally ill, substance abuse, and homeless population.
Hmm.
And like I said earlier, my mom was a paranoid schizophrenic. I have many people in my family that have diagnosis, whether they went and got them or not. I was diagnosed at a very young age, and I had to understand that I wasn't crazy.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. Okay, that's right. Some people tell you you're crazy to silence you, Christine. Correct. It's
Right.
silence. I'm going to tell you something. I have to sit down and go, I'm not crazy. I can't, and I'll get a little
Hmm.
personal. I came from a very traumatic, abusive lifestyle where I was physically abused daily in every way possible. You name it, it was happening. Verbally, emotionally, sexually, incestuously. This is what was going on in my family tree. Okay? On both sides of my family. So I had nowhere to run to. I grew up in this, it was almost like a sect, almost like a cult, because there was they just kept doing it. And even as an adult in my 30s, I didn't know how to break that cycle, even though I was like, okay, this is not what we should be doing, but how do you break out of that? I kept the heck away from these people, but it still didn't help. because it messes with you, it damages you, it changes. Trauma changes you.
Yes.
And I realized that, yo, I got some issues. I had a lot of anger issues. I had a lot of anger. I was a loose cannon. I was not
Mm.
a, I was always nice at heart, but my temper was just. I feel sorry for my children. When they were growing up, they feared me at every turn, because the littlest thing, I had OCDs. The littlest thing was manic. So, and because I had so many issues that I wasn't dealing with. So what do you think happens when you've been exposed to trauma the majority of your life and you're not getting any type of help? You're not getting any type of outlet.
Mhm.
It's gonna run you back
Yes.
crazy. It can and will mess with your mind. So I
Yes.
had to get to a point where I had to go, you know what? I got issues and I need to do something about it.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
right, right. I feel you, Janine. And like I said, I had many ways trying to deal with it. And I finally found the thing was just to face it. From what I did, I can't advise anyone else to do, because everyone is different. What worked for me, man, yeah, a bomb waiting to explode. I sure, what? Who
Mhm.
told you? I sure was. I was a ticking time bomb, literally, literally. And then you have to realize I was homeless by the time I was 12 years old
Wow.
in Brooklyn, New York. So you could not be in the street, be a girl child, and not be able to protect yourself,
Yes.
right? I used to be reclusive, and I'm still a little bit reclusive, believe it or not, Janine. I do respect my space, and I do not like people interrupting that space uninvited.
Mhm.
Yeah, like you could come to my house and knock my door. If I'm not expecting you, I don't care who's out there. I'm not opening.
Mm.
Yeah, because you just violated my space. Don't do that. I don't like that. I must be in control of my space. Because, and again, that's a residual effect from abuse.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But I've always been very honest with who I am. Okay, Christine, I see you. You know what? And this is how I dealt with my mental issues. I
Yes.
had to sit down there one day and I'm not telling everybody to do this, but I
Mhm.
had a point where I had no mirrors in my house. They were all hidden because I could not stand my own reflection. I was suffering with agoraphobia. I would not go out. And again, this was over 20 years ago. And I sat down one day. I got tired of the personal hell that I was in. It was, let me tell you, it's the mind. The mind is a powerful thing. And
Mhm.
if this is not okay, nothing is. I don't care what you're doing in life. If
Yes.
this is not okay, nothing is. And I went in front of the mirror. I took out one of the mirrors one day, stripped naked. Yep, sat in front of the mirror and cried my eyes out and talked to myself. Yes, I did. And told the little girl inside to come out and talked about the good, the bad, the ugly with me, myself, and I. you know, and I
Mhm.
stayed in front of that mirror for like 2 days,
Mhm.
just being my own best enemy and best friend.
Mhm.
And I got up and I said, okay, I'm done with this shit.
Yeah.
I was done. That's
Mhm.
right. You're right, Christine. I've known people who were in jail and I was out free and I was just as badly damaged as they were, because a mental prison will shut you down.
Yes.
We have got to learn how to deal with our demons within. We have got to reach out and seek help. Stop
Mhm.
sitting there
Mhm.
suckling. Don't worry, Janine, I don't like hoes either.
Mhm.
You just Janine and I are gonna have to hook up.
Yeah. Mhm.
you know but
Mhm.
again, we have got to learn how to just stop running from our issues.
Yeah.
Stop running from what people think and society thinks. Stop trying to meet the expectations of others. You have got to know thyself, meaning go back in within to who you are and love yourself anyway.
Hmm.
That's right. Love you. Love
Yes.
you some you.
Yes.
You got to. Or else you'll never break out of this hell you're in. You won't. People
Yes.
ask me how I do it because I learned to love myself. I have to admit to myself that the people who damaged me were damaged.
Yes.
That I don't, I have to. And there were times when every day, when I got up in the mornings, I literally had to tell myself, "You're a good person. You're gonna be okay." I used to have
Yes.
anxiety attacks going outside. I used to walk down the street and I wouldn't look up. I was always like, you would never get eye contact with me.
Hmm.
Dune, I know that movie well.
Hmm.
Okay, you have you have to understand it's mental.
Yes.
It's mental. You have got to go in here. You got to go inside. You have to. If you need help doing it, get the help you need. Stop being ashamed. Stop. Because you're
Hmm.
destroying yourself and you're missing out on so much in life. You really, really are. You don't have to be a prisoner to your mind. You don't have to be a prisoner to the sabotage and the self sabotage. You don't have to.
Hmm.
It's scary. I know it is. And sometimes we get stuck in the madness and we find what I call we learn how to function within the dysfunction. Mhm. That's not good.
No. Hmm.
We've got to get out of that. We've got to we've got to try reach out. You can't reach out to everyone, but you have got to find resources and things that can help you break out of this hell, this hell on earth. People are looking, I'm not a religious person, but to put it in religious terms, what's the hell you're looking for? The people who are so mentally bound and trapped, they're already in hell.
Yes. Hmm.
Because every day they repeat the same hell over and over and over and over again.
Hmm.
You don't deserve that.
Hmm.
Even a monster, mm, even a monster can find their way
Hmm.
to becoming a decent human being and calming down
Yes.
the beast in the mind.
Hmm.
Don't give up on you. But you it's scary. It is. But you got to do it because I don't care what this therapist says. I don't care what your preacher says. I don't care what your spiritualist says. I don't care what anybody says. Only
Right.
you can do it.
Yes. Yes. Amen to that. I agree.
That's right. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. It's Noreen. I love you, Noreen. I had to come on the show and do this for you because I can remember anytime I was on the Real Stuff podcast. I could call Noreen at the drop of a hat. Noreen was on the show. Noreen, we could faithfully to this day. I could always count on you.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
even though I wasn't feeling my norm, and when you asked me, I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And even with the 100 poets, I'll be there. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do what we do, Noreen. That's right.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Because I remember one time, I don't know when I started talking, but one time I was so quiet. I was so quiet. I didn't even wouldn't talk to nobody hard at all. I was standing in where by people, and they would about 30 minutes later. They said, "I didn't know you was there. I didn't see you." And I'll be crying when I get home or whatever I was at. I'll go
Hmm.
home crying because it bothered me. And then in sixth grade, I got an award for being the quietest one, and I went home and cried because I
Wow.
thought that was an insult to be the quietest one. I thought because people would always make fun of me because I my speech because there's some words I can't some sounds I can't say right.
Hmm.
And plus around here I have a problem with people thinking I'm stupid and mentally retarded. That's what they actually say about me. And
Hmm.
where I used to work, they said they didn't believe that. They said no, she's not, and
That's
they know
right.
better. And so did Gary. And Gary would get mad at people too because no, she's not. She's smart.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right. You can't let what people say. It's
No.
sad, but you have got to. They used to bully me as a child.
Yes.
And one day I had enough of it. My father said, I'm tired. He was tired of me coming in beat up because I wouldn't defend myself.
Yes.
Um, and my father said, enough is enough. And I remember back then, Muhammad Ali was the famous boxer. Back
Mm-hmm.
then, my father had gloves. He went to MSG, Madison Square Garden, got his gloves, autograph, all that. My father said, you are going to learn to fight today. And I was in elementary school. And I was like, no, and I don't want it. I'm crying. And my father said, if you don't learn to fight, I'm going to bust your backside. I was like, uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
So he put the gloves on, and he's teaching me how to box, and I'm jabbing. And would you believe I broke my father's nose?
Wow.
And that was the happiest I saw him. He said, okay, don't you ever come back in here again.
Mhm.
And I don't he created something then because I couldn't wait to get to school the next day. I went into school the next day, and all my bullies, I beat everybody's behind. I just went, bow. They called my mother up. And my mother was like, my mother said, well, I'm sick and tired of my daughter being bullied, which I was surprised because I thought my mother was going to let me have it. But,
Yeah.
she was tired of it. And ever
Yes.
since then, I was like, no one's ever going to bully me again.
Mm.
You know, and you have to stand up for yourself.
Yes.
You have to overstand and see that you are worth it.
Yes.
And not let people keep chipping away at you. Stop giving people the right and the passageway to tear you down.
Yes.
Christine, we always in touch. Trust me, we always connect. Christine is a like minded. I know that about Christine from the first time I saw her. Oh yeah, he woke up my fighting spirit. He sure did.
Yes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But yep, it's beautiful. You gotta stand up. Let me see. I'm gonna give us another poem before I leave. If anyone has
Yes.
any questions for
Yes.
me,
Okay. Does anybody
um,
have any questions after she reads? Oh,
anything you like to know that I can answer, I'll try my best to do so.
mhm.
Let's see what we have here. Um, yeah, that's a little bit too strong. Maybe I should read from the other book.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Whichever one you want to read, because you're an awesome poet and just
Thank you, Noreen.
fabulous.
That means a lot to
I
me.
give you outstanding ovation, and I have your book here, and I love it.
Thank
And
you, Noreen. Thank you so much.
you're
Poetry
very welcome.
is just I am poetry. I don't know about how any other poet feels, but I am poetry.
Yes.
I have
Oh,
a short piece.
okay.
Oh, go ahead. No,
You
go
read
ahead.
that person. Read that person. Somebody does have a question.
It's called "Physician Heal Thyself." Mm.
Hmm.
It fits
Okay.
with what's going on right now.
Okay.
See, I needed healing from the feelings that had me bound in my own personal hell.
Mhm.
I had to find a calm that would caress the storm that brewed within my being. I took this invention called time, contorted it, made it mine in order to remember who I am. Burning my oil and sage, it silenced distractions and pain as the binaural beats connected within my soul, leaving the chaos and background noise behind. The bright place of quiet light welcomes me as my chakras realign. Ah, physician, heal thyself. Thank you. So,
Wow.
oh, thanks, Marie.
You're very welcome.
Who
Yeah.
you said there was a question? What do we got there?
Okay. A Facebook user said, "Has anyone ever changed your mind on one of your pieces and how it was written?"
Never.
Mhm.
Never. Because again, when I write, that's right. We ain't no wusses here, Janine. That's right. But you see, and yeah, never. Because you see, when I write, I am the poet. I am the creator. What I write is what I write. It is coming from me.
Yeah.
So why would I let someone or anything outside control, puppeteer, or influence? I know that was you, Christine. What I what I'm writing? No, 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 no. We don't do that.
No.
If I don't do that at all. I write what I write, how it is to be written,
Yes. Mhm.
because I'm the author. I'm the creator of that
Yes.
piece. So
Yes.
no, no one's going to tell me, well, you should have put this, or maybe you could have worded it differently. Then write it yourself. Write your own poem. Write
Right.
your own piece.
Right.
Do what makes you happy. But don't you dare come to me and
Mhm.
tell me to change my work. We're going to have a problem.
Mhm. Yes. Um. Oh, and I have a question. What do you think? The ones who wants to the what's her name? Emily Dickinson. She's
Oh,
one of
Emily.
them
Mhm.
because I read that when and so was uh what was his name? The one who wrote Huckleberry Finn. They want to change their words all the way. What do you think about that? They change their words. They change how they felt what they wrote.
That's slaughter.
Yes,
Today you could sue somebody for that.
yes. Mhm.
You don't change the writer's work. That it
No,
is as he or she created it to be. That's
yeah,
as if you, an artist, painted something, a picture, and then I go and go, you know what?
mhm,
Change that. Take that out of there and put this in here. No, you should do it.
yeah,
If
mhm.
you have a problem with it, guess what? It's time for you to move on to the next piece.
Right, right. Yes, because
Don't ever quell somebody's creativity, change their work. And this happens all the time, not just in poetry. You have
right.
many times people, they have scripts in
Hmm.
movies and shows, and people come in and change the whole doggone thing. That wouldn't work for me. You're not going to change my
Nope,
work. This is what
nope.
I want it to be, and this is what it's going to be. If it's changed, it's because I wanted to change something in particular, not because someone else had something to do or say about it.
Yes,
Because
because I
I have work that will offend people. I
yes,
do. In the poetic storm, there are pieces there that are so heavy. I have a piece that's called "Nigger." You don't trust me. It'll offend people. I'm not
mhm,
changing it.
nope. Mhm.
It is what it is. So
Yes, yes. Because I don't think that's right either. Because like Emily Dickinson, I read that after she passed away, they published her poetry, but they edited every one of them. They changed her words,
wow,
what she said. I didn't think that was fair. That was right.
that's terrible.
And same
That's
way,
horrific.
what was his name? Huckleberry, one who wrote Huckleberry Finn. How can I forget
Mark
his name?
Twain. Mark
Yeah, Mark
Twain.
Twain. Yeah, they
Hmm.
and I read about that too. They changed his words. He
Terrible.
wrote. That is terrible.
Terrible.
Yep. And there's a lot
Terrible.
of other books are doing it too. I hear too, and it's terrible because that was saying we poets or we writers we don't have a say so how we feel how we write, and so
Exactly.
mm, so I think that we
Hmm.
should all stop and we also stick together and make sure that don't happen to any more poets and writers. That's how
That's
I
right.
see it.
I'm
Yes,
with you.
yes,
I'm with you. Don't change my work. If you change my work, I'm going to sue you. Don't do it.
right, right.
Oh, Noreen, it's been beautiful. It's been
Yes,
beautiful.
yes.
Uh, we're going on a little longer now. It's like 8:50.
Oh,
We're
okay.
going to wrap up unless you have any more questions for me, Noreen.
Um, I got one more. What motivates you and keeps you going?
Life, love and life, love,
Wow.
life. This is what motivates me. And because even though I may not have love per se around me, I still have life. And once you have life, you can find love, and vice versa.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Oh wow! I just saw a comment. I believe that's Christine. It's horrible. They've been doing it a long time, even in a book called the Bible. Okay, I'm gonna
Yes.
have
Oh, yes.
people are gonna get upset with me for this, but I'm gonna talk on that since Christine mentioned it. There are a lot
Okay.
of people who they have their Bibles, and I'm not knocking them because, like I said, I'm not a religious person. Whatever you do, whatever you believe, that's fine. But how
Yes.
many people are doing the homework to know that the Bible has been revised so many times? Why?
Mhm.
How many people know that whether you're reading the King James version or the other version or whatever version you're reading?
Mhm.
Are you aware that you're getting barely a fingernail of the books of the Bible? There's a Bible called the Maccabee. Do you know about that? That is the true. It has all the books, hundreds of books of the Bible. So you're fighting over something that is has been tortured and pulled and torn and twisted. That's why when so many people read it, they
Yes.
go, wait a minute, something doesn't revise 422 times so far. What is it that you're revising so many times? I don't understand. If
No.
the word is the word of God, the
Hmm.
Most High, what are you revising? So
Right.
that's why I don't get into religion with people because I don't want to offend anyone. Because one thing I know the Bible tells you, do not mess with a man in his beliefs. Let
Right.
him believe what he want to believe. Like I said, I read the Bible at a very young age. And by the time I was 9 years old, I had read the Bible in its entirety. And I had questions that to this day pastors cannot answer. So I had to go looking. I knew there was more. Something didn't add up to me. So
Yes.
again, and I'm just looking at it from then as a child and just asking regular questions. And I had many past. I've been thrown out of churches because I asked the wrong question. How dare you? You're supposed to answer the question. If your flock or your congregation comes to you with a
Yes.
question, you're supposed to answer it.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I had to go searching. But like I said, I grew up knowing that the Bible that we had was not the original. We though, especially those in Jamaica. Christine is laughing. Me too. Those in Jamaica as well. We knew growing up that there was more. We, or you want to call them the holy scrolls that we have no. Let me see. I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
How do you have holy scrolls and Bibles that you're not allowing anybody else to read and see? Why not?
Hmm.
Oh, the knowledge is too powerful for the people.
Hmm.
So who are you saving it for? Okay,
Hmm.
I'm gonna leave that alone now. I'm walking away because that's just too. If I start talking about religion and politics and sexuality, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
So, I'm not knocking anyone's religious religion of choice. I'm just saying educate yourself. And if
Yes.
you're asking questions and people, you have doubts, and those you sit there, you have doubts, and you're scared to ask your pastor.
Hmm.
And because some of them are written by women. Oh, yes, I've heard that too. And back in those days, and even in some churches, women are not allowed to speak. They're not, they've come a long way. You have with female pastors now. So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
come a long way. But we're talking about way back in the day.
Yes.
Women were not allowed to talk. We,
No,
we
they were.
were not allowed to speak on religious or political anything. We were
Right.
just allowed to take care of the children, and we had enough. That was it. And make sure that the man is okay when he came home. And we were not. We had to fight to vote. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know, come on. So it's on. Again, they've been tampering with. And Christine made a big point. We can come off the Bible because, like I said, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to knock anybody's religion and whatever. Look, there's good in the Bible, and once you're following good things, that's all you need to concern yourself about.
Right.
Good positivity and love. You good to go.
Yes.
That's it. You don't need. That's it. We don't need to argue that. You know.
Right.
But you can go. We can go to our history books.
Hmm.
There's so much lies in there. There's so
Oh,
much
yes, that's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
stuff that we grew up with are lies. So I
Yeah.
mean, they've changed it. They've made things how they want to make it. You know how many
Yeah.
people that adults that I've grown that the dude I knew from Finland. You know who I'm talking about, Noreen.
Yes.
He, he argued with me where Egypt was located. I said Egypt is in Africa. This man was mad. No, no.
Mhm.
I'm like, bruh, are you educating yourself, sir? No, because when they're teaching you in schools, we were taught that it's someplace completely separate. It's someplace that didn't exist in Africa. It's a complete
Yes.
garbage,
Yes.
garbage, garbage, garbage. And this was in 2017.
Wow.
And I told him, I said, as much as you Google, why don't you go Google and see where Egypt and the Gaza is? Go take a look because you sounding pretty stupid right now. So he was insulted that he wasn't correct. So you have you, and again, can you be mad at him? He was believing what he was taught all this time.
Right. Right.
So
Hmm.
it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yes. Hmm.
Well, Noreen, I'm telling you, this has been great. It's been wonderful. I could sit here and
Yes.
talk to you all night. It's I've had a good time
Me
with you and
too.
everyone. Thank you, everyone. Christine, Elizabeth, Janine. Is Dickie Jimmy?
Yep.
Who is Jimmy Dickie? Is this the same person?
No, no. Dickie is my brother. Dickie
Oh,
is my
thanks.
brother, and Jimmy and Jimmy and Missy are they're poets.
Oh,
Okay,
thanks, Jimmy, Missy, Dickie, everybody who's here. If I missed anyone,
oh,
thank you. I
and some
appreciate the
and
support.
oh, Janine, and there was somebody who um oh, I don't want to forget. Okay, um oh, where was she at? Say Missy. Oh, I'll find her name. Ellen Cascade. Hello. Okay,
Thanks,
Ellen
Ellen.
too. Okay.
And again, if anyone wants to connect with me, Maxwanette A Poetess, just
Mhm.
just hit me up. Not a problem.
Yes.
Happy to know you.
Yes. Mhm. Mhm.
Thanks for having me, Noreen. You know I
Okay.
love you
You're
dearly.
very welcome. Okay. And I'm
Mm.
looking forward you and I being hosting to 100,000 poets for a change. And
Oh yeah,
if any of y'all want to have any if you want to read your poetry and join us for 100,000 poets for change, that's next month, September 17th. You can get in touch with me, and I'll say 3 poems. I think that's what we had time for last year.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It was good. It was good. It was good.
Yes. Yes.
I look forward to it, Noreen. Thanks again for having me. And
Okay. You're
again, I
very
hope
welcome.
Michael gets better soon.
Yes, I do too. And Michael, we wish we all wish you get better, and we hope you get better, and I know you're going to have difficulty of recovery, and we're all pulling for you and praying for you too. And we also pray, and we're praying for oh no, oh my God, my mind went blank.
That's all right. You
Bob,
can find it.
Bob. We all pray for Bob too.
Bob
Bob.
McNeil.
Yeah, Bob McNeil. He had surgery on his lungs. His lungs
Correct.
collapsed, and he's going to be here in April. And I'm hoping. He said I asked him how you doing. He said it's slow recovery, so I'm
Yeah,
praying
yeah.
for him too, Janine. I
He's
mean,
he's he's day
yes,
by day. He's hanging
yes,
in there. He's a
yes,
fighter.
yes. He's a fighter. Mhm.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I
Thanks.
won't have none. I won't have none next month in September because I want to to really get put all my energy in this 100,000 posts for change. So we'll be
Mm-hmm.
back in October the 19th. I mean October 17th. That's because for my around my birthday, I'm going to over my sister's for a week. So I'll have it before I go.
Okay,
It'll be
okay.
on a Monday. Yes.
Keep me posted, Noreen.
Okay, I will. Okay, and then November is going to be something different because Nyla Alicia is going to be here on November, but instead of me interviewing her, she wants to interview me. So that's going to
Well,
be
that'd
something
be fun.
different.
Oh, that'd
But
be
yeah,
nice.
that'll be November.
That'll be nice. That'll be nice.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Nyla.
Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks
Yes.
again. Thanks,
Okay. You're
everyone.
very
It's been
welcome.
great.
Okay.
Bye,
Okay.
Noreen.
Okay, see you. Okay, this is a conclusion to Have a Chat with Poet Noreen, episode 5, with guest Maxwanette A Poetess. We will be back on October 17th, 2022, on a Monday with guest Honey Parker. Thank you very much, Maxwanette, for being part of this show. It is an honor, and I want to thank our audience for being here this evening and taking time out of your life for us. I hope everyone enjoyed the show tonight. Remember to live your dreams. You're never too old or too young. And I hope to see you all in October. And I wanna thank everybody individually. I wanna thank Jenny and Lynch, Missy Davis, and Jimmy Davis, and Ellen and Christy. My brother Dickie. I know his name's Richard Huggins around here, but I call him Dickie. That's what we did when we were kids. So and then and Robbie and Elizabeth
And
um
Christine Reynolds. This
Elizabeth
Christine.
Esquerra Castillo. We want to thank her too, and we love
Chris,
you all, each one of you all, and thank you all very much. And I hope you all have a great night and a great week, and God bless you all. And thank you all that you all have been watching Have a Chat with Poet Noreen, episode 5, with guest next Winette, a poetess. And thank everybody. We love you all. And thank you all for all your encouragement. And if it wasn't for you all, audience, we wouldn't be right here, right there. So thank you all. Okay. Okay.